Hello YouTube and welcome to Allie's Wonderland Creations. I am Alice Seraphin and I'm a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in the US. So this video is going to be on my 5-layer card featuring the beautiful Elegantly Said stamp set. That's its number, that's how much it costs. We're going to be using Versamark, clear embossing powder, some blending brushes. Our card stock will be Just Jade, Polished Pink, Basic White, and Misty Moonlight. Our inks are Just Jade, Magenta Madness, Misty Moonlight, and some other thing we're using is some crinkled seam binding ribbon. So let me set the whiteboard aside. I can show you our card. Isn't that lovely? It is inspired by these two cards that I made using some retired products, which this paper here is the Bride. It's called Bride and it's retired. And this here has the Butterfly Bijou and some of the butterflies on it. And anyways, I wanted to do one that is something you could actually recreate no problem if you didn't have these products. And to tell you the truth, I love it better than the originals. So I have some little bit of information for you. I am starting up an email group. It is not a Facebook group. It is called Post Pals. It's a monthly card exchange group and it is only done through an email. I set up this email, allieswonderlandcreations@gmail.com, specifically for this group. The only true requirements for this is that you need to mail out at least one card. You can opt out of months. I will be sending out an email once a month on the 1st or 2nd of every month with the list of names of those who wish to participate. You can use any product. It does not have to be Stampin' Up! Product. But I personally will mail every month a card to every person who wants to join. My cards for April's email listing are these adorable bunny cards using the Easter Friends that I have created. So that's what I've been working on. And I'll go into a little bit more about this on other videos. So I'm gonna give it a swipe off and let's get started. So I am also going to be starting up a blog. Hopefully it will launch in April as I'm getting stuff together for that and writing out very specific directions. So just to go over what you will need for the supplies. You will need some Stampin' Write markers, which I failed to pull out. So let me do so now. Magenta Madness, they're already on top. Just Jade and Misty Moonlight. We will be using those. We'll be using Versamark, and I already went over Just Jade, Magenta Madness, clear embossing powder, and embossing gun. Blending brushes, crinkled seam binding ribbon, and basic white cardstock, Just Jade card base, which is this right here. Some polished pink cardstock and some Misty Moonlight, bling of your choice. So step 1, you need to cut and prep all your card stock. So with your basic white, the first layer is a basic white and it needs to be at 4 and 5 and 1/4. Your second layer piece is polished pink and that is 3.5 by 4 3/4. Your third layer is basic white, 3 by 4 1/4. Your fourth layer is a piece of Misty Moonlight, 2 1/2 by 3 3/4, and your fifth layer is basic white, 2 by 3 1/4. You will also need a scrap of basic white, at least 2 by 2, and you will need a piece of 19 inches of crinkled seam binding ribbon. So let's get 19 inches. That's 13. Let's go down here. 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. I'm going to go a little bit extra just to have enough. And like I said, all of these products are available in the catalog. So first things first. Now I did go ahead and prep some of this. You will be using the corner image of the Elegantly Said. And what I did is I simply stamped on all of the basic white cardstock that is cut, not counting the scrap. Ooh, I did not. I need to emboss that for the inside. I stamped all around the edges. This one, of course, I just stamped the stamp and it covered it up. But that's what you need to do on all three of those. On the two, at least 2 by 2, you need to stamp the floral image, like so we have here, okay? Versamark clear embossing powder, because we're going to fussy cut this. And then I'm using Life Has Changed for You, but my love and support never will. And I wanted to show you, okay, the difference between, I didn't need to go into embossing, but hopefully you can see this. You see where that's shiny and this is matte because the powder hasn't melted. So I'm going to go ahead and melt this, and it will take just a second off screen because of my embossing gun location. So give me just a second. Almost there, everybody. Need something to hold it down because it's getting hot around my fingers. Okay. This is for the inside of our card. Okay. So I'm setting the inside piece for our card, which is on a Stitch So Sweetly die, which is the second. Let me set it. Yes, it's the second largest die of the Stitch So Sweetly dies. Just because it was in my scrap pack, you don't necessarily have to have that. So let's get started on using the blending brushes. Now, I have my blending brushes. These are my Stampin' Up ones. I still need to order more. So first, I'm starting off with just Jade. And set that aside. And everything, we're going to do some blending around all the edges of our Just Jade card base. So just swirly, swirly around the edges, just softening them up, giving them a little deeper color of the Just Jade. That's all we're doing. All right. So now that that is done, we are going to move on to our first layer of basic white that is embossed, and we are simply going to come in here with our Just Jade, and we're going to do 3 sections. Okay, now you don't got to worry really about the middle because the middle is going to be covered up by our other layers. So there's one section. I'm going to choose to do this section right here. And I do want it that deep Just Jade color. And I'm going to do this wee bit right here. A little bit more. All right. Now, that's our first layer. On our third layer, we are going to repeat the same process, choosing where you want your color to be, and each one will be different if you do multiples of these, because I have yet to do one that's identical. Same process though, okay? So there's our third layer. Our fifth layer is this wee little bit, and we will be doing the whole piece. So I am going to bring the Just Jade in a diagonal. straight down the center, like so. So there we have it. Now I'm setting my Just Jade ink pad aside because I will be going back to it. Next we will go with our Misty Moonlight because that pad was on top. Ooh, we didn't do any on that. We'll have to do that when we come back to the other. So getting some ink on it, my blending brush, tapping off a bit and bringing it like so. And you got to make sure you leave room for the Magenta Madness color. So I'm trying to think of where I want this to be. I am going to bring it in just here. And maybe like right in that corner. And I'm going to set that one aside, going to our other piece. Ooh, grab the wrong brush. That would have been a catastrophe. Okay, so there's some Magenta Madness, Misty Moonlight. Here's some more. And let's see. We're going to put some in the middle just because. Set that one aside and come in here, and we are going to go down one whole diagonal side of it. And we'll go ahead, since we are going to do this here real light. We're not going to go super dark, just not re-inking, just blending that up along the side. And we're not going to re-ink on this, but we're going to bring it in the center. And it's gonna really show up our sentiments. Let me grab just a tad bit more ink in here. All right, so we are now ready for setting my Misty Moonlight aside. I need to do that with the blending brush so I don't grab that one. Let's go ahead with the pink, and I'm going to start with the largest first. And here we go. Remember what I said, the center of it is not going to be seen. So I want some going around here. And I want some right in there. And probably grab this in there. All right, that's well done. And let's move on to this piece. See how much ink is, this pink is really saturated. So may not need to re-ink it as much as the others. Plus I haven't used this pad hardly at all. But I do want that nice deep magenta color, so here we go. Definitely. So pretty, and the Elegantly Said just pops on this. So here we go on the diagonal of our 5th layer piece, and we will do the same with our sentiment piece that we're putting on the inside. And remember, this is meant to be really soft, okay? Not harsh, just soft. That's why I'm coming over again with my brushes. There we have it. Now, that, we're not going to go to adhering our card because we've got some other things to do with our blending brushes. This is a piece 4 by 5 and 1/4, this is for the inside, which this piece will rest on it, but we are going to lightly, do not re-ink your brushes, okay? And I'm simply going to start at the bottom and just give it a light dusting of color. I'm going to bring the Misty Moonlight in and do the same thing. And like I said, do not re-ink your blending brushes. And I'm just getting some color on our inside piece. A little bit more. Okay, so that's our layering piece for the inside. Now, for our card envelope that we have here, open it up, we're going to do the same thing. Okay, and I'm bringing it all over the envelope. Kind of at a diagonal. The Magenta Madness works so great doing this. Okay, we're going to bring in the Misty Moonlight. Not around the flower yet. And our Just Jade, which I really do wish I had a green Stampin' Up blending brush. I will eventually. Just got a lot of things to have to pay for the next couple of months. Taxes, dues for my community. Alright, so I'm going to close up the Magenta Madness pad. Don't want anything. I'm going to put my brush aside. I'm going to put them all aside actually. Now we're going to go ahead and do some gluing of our panels, our layers on our cards. So first we're going to do our first layer, which is the largest of our basic white. Gluing that on top of our Just Jade card base. Setting that aside. Next, our polished pink. Ooh, almost messed that one up. Okay, Magenta Madness is coming back. The reason why I'm not using polished pink with polished pink is because I wanted the Magenta Madness, but I don't have any Magenta Madness cardstock. So we're going to turn our polished pink into some Magenta Madness by simply grabbing quite a bit of ink on our blending brush and going over. You really only need to do it on the edges of our polished pink cardstock. And the reason why I don't have any is because I really did not like this color at all. I ordered the ink pads in when they were all together, but I refused to buy any Magenta Madness cardstock. In fact, I hadn't opened this ink pad till just recently. And here it is leaving, and I finally have found I like the color. Just the way it is sometimes. Okay, so there we have it. Just checking my fingertips. So now we are taking our second of our white, basic white layering pieces and gluing that down to our now Magenta Madness cardstock. Alright, and we are going to repeat this with our Misty Moonlight, which I have changed the card up a bit because I was like, why didn't I use Misty Moonlight in there? It's one of my ink colors. So I decided on this card to do so. There we have it. Now, we're not doing any more for this. We're keeping those aside, closing that up. We are going to be inking up our ribbon. And how we're going to do that, our blending brushes. I will need some more of the Just Jade. that's why I didn't close this one up. We're starting with the Just Jade, and we're really going to saturate our ribbon on both sides, okay? And I'm not measuring how far I start or go, I just go with it. So I'm scooting it down, and now I'm going with the Magenta Madness. Hopefully I won't need to get any more ink on my blending brushes. Misty Moonlight is next, but it looks like that one, I didn't close it up because I thought we might need it. It is easier when it's inked up. There we go. Give it a swipe. And back to the beginning with Just Jade. And flip it over. Couple of swipes. That's really dark. Magenta Madness again. And it looks like we will need to add just a bit of ink if I can open up the ink pad. All right. And I'm doing it all at once instead of cut sections. So next is our Misty Moonlight. And next is our Just Jade. And we will be ending, it looks like, with Magenta Madness. Turn it this way. And okay, now I am completely done. I can't say completely done because we're going to be doing a little blending after we do some fussy cutting. But I won't need to add any ink, so I'm going to set those aside. And here is our ribbon. Now, don't need that for the moment. Now for our ribbon, and I'll show you the card as I do this. I have 2 layering pieces of ribbon on these 2. You could have done the third one on that, but I didn't want to. So using some Scotch tape, which has like fondly disappeared, that would be my grandson. He is a Scotch tape fiend. Uses it for everything under the sun. And not just a little. When he takes the Scotch tape, you can count on the entire roll of Scotch tape being used for whatever he's doing. It's just a child for you. Okay, so we need 2 pieces of Scotch tape. And how I did this is, we're going to turn this way. Nope, I want this at the bottom, but I don't want, see how if I laid it here, Misty Moonlight would be on top of Misty Moonlight. We do not want that. So, and if I turn it this way, I might have to start with this other end of the ribbon. And that will do it. So we'll have Just Jade and Magenta Madness there. And we're going to come in roughly about a 1/2 inch, maybe 3/4 of an inch. It is up to you. But that is the piece we do first. And I am going to tape that down, get this where it's straight, tape it down, and snip it. Now, I want to set this piece on top, and I want to make sure, I want to show you. See how this is Magenta Madness, Magenta Madness? We don't want that together. We want it like so. Okay, and so that's where that's going to go, and that shows us where, let's start with this end, We're going to turn it so we don't have the same colors lining up, like so, right there on our card. And that will be somebody coming for me. So let's tape this down, and hopefully I can bring my camera down more. I got a new camera. I'm learning to use it. So we're going to bring that in and this in, and I really didn't want that much there, but that's okay. It's just the way it goes. Bring that over. Hopefully I will not have to readjust this. Could. It's just the way it goes sometimes to get it where I want it. So snip. Now let's see if I line those up. Yes, an interruption is coming. Looks like we're going to have to readjust the polished pink magenta madness. So bring that one up a bit. This is why I use the Scotch tape. Let's see. Because when these are on each other, I want that ribbon lined up. And that's still not where I want it. That one is where I want it. This one, however, is not. And yeah, I'm being a wee bit fussy, but I can be. It's my card. I want it just so. Okay, I'm really happy with that. This piece, we're going to be making a bow. This is my bow maker my husband made me. And we do have plenty of ribbon to make a nice sized bow and tail to cut. So let's see. I love this crinkled seam binding ribbon. It's so delicate, soft, and not bulky at all. So there is our bow, and we will cut the tails once we get it all where we want it. So now we're going to add our dimensionals and start putting this card together. We still have to work on our flower, but we will do that shortly. So let's get our dimensionals on it. Let's see. I think I used like 9. 3 rows of 3 on this piece, and this one, let's see. There we go. All right, we're going to take these off, and Stampin' Up's dimensional backings come off the best of any dimensionals. Put it to the test, trust me. You can see I have no fingernails. I'm just taking this part of my finger and flicking it, and it just comes off. Okay, so let me get these out of the way, my Scotch tape out of the way. Those bug me. And let's layer this up on our card. This is absolutely beautiful. And this is our next piece, which goes, having to look around the camera. There we have it. So our 5 layers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Next, this is where we bring in our Stamp and Write markers. Now for the center of my flower, I used Misty Moonlights. And I took a tissue, and I wanted to wipe off the Misty Moonlight off of the embossed image, and we'll do this on what is showing on the rest of it. Now I took my Magenta Madness and I went outside of my flower petals and colored all over them. You can see the cardstock resisting where it has the embossing powder. That's what makes this so beautiful. Don't forget the little flower, however you want to get it colored. And let's see, trying to get the light so I see exactly where my petals of my flowers are. And here. Okay. Next we're going to bring this in and wipe it off. Kind of goes, you see how we're blending around the flower and it's smearing the ink? I love that. Okay. And we're going to be fussy cutting. Next is our Just Jade, and we do want the brush tip, not the writing tip. And we're going to come like so. And here, here. And we're going to take our tissue and do some rubbing. And I just want to get into here. Now, I'm bringing in my Misty Moonlight, and I am going to go lightly around all of my paper and my flower. Okay, now before I go and cut this, we embossed this same flower on our envelope, and we need to repeat these steps. So Misty Moonlight in the center, wipe it off, Magenta Madness on the flower petals, okay, take our tissue and it's going to smear our ink around. That's what we want. It's also, ooh, so pretty. Now for our Just Jade, don't forget to go in there so it looks like it's connected. Let me put a little Just Jade right there. To come in there and do that. And bring in our Misty Moonlight and go over it. Alright, so we're done with our markers. I'm going to set those aside. Now we are going to fussy cut our flower out, and it really takes absolutely no time. I'm leaving quite a little bit of a border around it, and I'm not being careful about the fussy cutting. It's fussy cutting. I want them to know it's roughly cut out. I'm not trying to be precise. And that's why I smeared the ink around. So here we go. Already my camera is doing so much better than my iPhone I had. So set that aside. Here is our image for the front of our card. Isn't that so pretty? Okay, so we need some dimensionals. And let's see, we have a hole in there. Let's snip some edges so we can use these. Piece there and a piece there, and that should cut it for us. Should do the job. And don't forget we have this inside of our card to do. So we're going to set that right there, and next we're going to bring in our bow. And you can choose to do your bow at the side, and we're going to put some gemstones. The gemstones are your choice of what you have. I personally am using up my garden gems, and I think the colors are absolutely stunning with this card, or I should say, okay, single glue dot underneath my ribbon just to hold it down. Take the lip cover off. Now I'm putting another glue dot on top of where I placed that one for the ribbon to adhere to. And then I'm going to cut. It needs to be cut this way. Okay. And let's see. Now, I will do the basic rhinestone gems on this one because those are in the catalog. This one I used the garden gems. Maybe we'll do a combination because these are just so much prettier. But I'm not sure if those are able to be ordered. So let's just go ahead and go with the basic rhinestones. Had to open a new package. So let's put the large one there, a medium one there, and a small wee little one down here. And you can see that there is a difference. These just like, yes. Okay, putting those back in my drawer. But I wanted to show you something you could recreate exactly. And this I know you can. So put my pen aside. And let's bring in our inner layer for the inside of our card, which is going to get glued down just like so. We want the inside to be just as lovely as our outside. Now this piece is going to go right there. And you can see that by not re-inking our blending brushes and using them after we basically did all of our work, it's just this light effect on the cardstock. And here is our matching envelope. So that is my 5-layered card. This one got really dark, which you could bring back this. Let's see if we wanted to darken this up and really go around those edges. Might set it off. And I will wipe again with the tissue. And let's get my tissue. And let's do the same with the Just Jade down here. Now I would take my tissue and go over my embossed images just a wee bit, picking up, cleaning up any extra ink that might be on top of our embossed images, just so makes it stand out more. I am so pleased with this card. I hope you think it's as lovely as I do. Please give me a thumbs up. I am trying to grow my channel, and look for this card in the directions on my blog starting in April. So happy crafting, YouTube. Bye bye now.